All right, guys, we're back. I'm sitting with Mike Minogue, running for governor here in Massachusetts, and today we're going to discuss what is happening with the courthouse deal in Springfield. Mike, happy to have you on again.
Mike, thanks for having me. It's pretty amazing what we're seeing, just the level of lack of accountability by Maura Healey. And Massachusetts is working for some, but not all. But this reminds us that if you're part of the political elite, you're doing fine. And hence you get a $2 billion contract, and the state and the taxpayers are on the hook to pay for all the maintenance over the next 40 years. And at the end of the 40 years, we still don't own the building. And it's especially important to know that the mayor, Dominic Sarno, also, this was not the selection of choice or the location that they wanted in Springfield, where many of the builders and developers that live in that community and know the details of that community were excluded from a bid with two political outsiders who essentially did not meet the RFP. So the request for proposal, they ignored the best value and they did lowest cost. So they eliminated things like upkeep of the building, which was in the RFP. They eliminated the project or contract agreements. They eliminated parking, and they have no responsibility for any of the infrastructure or upkeep for the next 40 years, which was in the request for proposal. And what's especially interesting is that Maura Healey, in this story that was covered, she specifically went on the record and she stated that it was a competitive business or a competitive process. It was a competitive bid, and the project that was chosen was one that cost the taxpayers the least. I stand for taxpayers. I'm all about supporting whatever is going to cost taxpayers the least amount of money, and as somebody who wants to protect tax dollars. Well, I'm pretty sure we could find 20 different development companies that have experience in doing this, and they would do it less than $2 billion. I mean, this is wildly crazy and being done in an election year, which again shows you that they think that the political establishment can do anything they want, and the one-party system is above the rule of law and also the RFP bidding process.
I agree 100%. And when I first broke this story, one thing that I compared it to is what happened last summer with Apple Green and Global Partners, which Healey also backed and said everything is good to go. But I think that one thing that needs to be looked into, and I may try to do this week, the reason from memory that they chose Apple Green's bid over Global Partners, amongst all of the other things, at least one of the reasons I believe, was because of the green energy renewable goals that they had set for both their building and also for charging the vehicle. So to my knowledge, if you use that as a proof of concept, right, that they selected a bid at that time that, was shortchanging the taxpayers over $900 million because of their, energy efficiency and emission standards and all of these other things. I think what somebody needs to do, and maybe that somebody is me, is go through the other bids and see if there's any details that break down the what they were planning to do with their energy program on the building itself, and go from there. Because look at it this way, and this is just my opinion, but if they selected Conan Harris's bid plus his partners, and let's say that their bid featured less green energy stuff that the state is seeing, and other bids had, better proposals in regards to that, and they still selected their bid, I just feel like that just raises another red flag, don't you?
Yeah, and Mike, I can tell you right now, for a fact, the winning bidders, Cojo Partners, they did not agree or incorporate any sustainability initiatives, which is mandated in most all of the other government contracts. So they completely ignored it. They also ignored things around, there's no parking lots. So absolutely, what this shows is that it was rigged so that they would just do low cost and win. But now remember, in many of these contracts, the way they scan the system is they go in and the low bidder, even when it says the low bidding is the process, someone goes in and they win the low bid, but by the time the contract is over, they've had 10 work order changes, and now they're the highest bid. This one, as you mentioned, is even more insulting to taxpayers, more outrageous, because they requested that there be sustainability initiatives. They requested that whoever was going to win the bid would upkeep the building. Can you imagine this? It's like, so it's also the what they put in, the plans for the building match the courthouse in Orlando, Florida, which doesn't have winter snow and our weather. And when you say in a contract that whoever gets the winning bid, and then now the taxpayers are on the hook to maintain it, it incentivizes the builder to build the cheapest, quickest product they can, knowing that anytime they have any infrastructure, plumbing, electrical work that has to be done, that's going to be covered by the taxpayers for the next 40 years.
100%. You're right. They're very, very frequently, every single time, just so people understand, what Mike is saying here is that very often somebody will put a bid in for $10 million, $50 million, $100 million. The state will select the lowest bid. And then what'll happen is there'll be something called change orders. I'm very familiar with change orders because I was an electrical contractor. And then what happens is, and sometimes it's not the fault of the contractor itself. Sometimes the owner wants certain things done. They want to change out fixtures, whatever it may be. But the difference is here in Massachusetts, those change orders are anywhere between like 15 to 25% above what the original proposal was, which is outrageous. You figure, there could be a couple percentage points here, right, Mike? But when you're like 10 or 15 or 20% over your initial bid, and if your bid is, let's just call it a $600 million bid, that's a lot of money. So you save money up front in the front end, but then you end up getting screwed on the back end anyway. That's realistically what happens.
Right. And Mike, they're not even trying to hide it from us. So the other partner in this agreement is interim leader of the Massachusetts Convention Center Authority, which, by the way, also gives out contracts, single source, and they don't bid it out. Now it's millions of dollars, not $2 billion. But the people that selected the Liberty Juncture are on the board of the Massachusetts Convention Center Authority. So it's so obvious that there's conflicts of interest here. It's so obvious that the people that won have no history in Springfield, have no history in developing or building or anything. And we have real problems in the state in our infrastructure, bridges, roads, up in North Shore, the Merrimack Valley, we're dumping raw sewage into the river. Anytime we have excessive rain or snowfall that melts, it's part of the protocol. And it's been going on since 2006, had a massive discharge in 2021 and 2024, and then July 4th weekend. And now we're back to normal. The only reason that we found out that this is the normal process to dump raw sewage in the river is because 2 pipes broke. But we need to fix the infrastructure. And instead, you would easily say that we're wasting at least $1 billion. They need a courthouse, and that doesn't cost $2 billion. And what we have to get back to is transparency and accountability. And Maura Healey doesn't provide any oversight, and that's why we're spending more money and going into further debt, more now than the history of Massachusetts. And that's why our taxes are already super high because they're overspending. But it's going to more than double because there's no way out of this massive dose of spending. And that's why we need a new governor that's going to come in, make all of this transparent, represent the taxpayers, and get rid of this corruption and waste and fraud that's just being put right in front of us, and they all think we're ignoring it.
I think whenever Maura Healey gets on and says, everything looks legitimate, I think that's when the sirens go off in my head. If she says it's legitimate, I think it's anything but. And I hate to say that, but I mean, when you have a track record or a history of saying something is legitimate and then it ends up becoming illegitimate, it just goes to show you the lack of disconnect that these people have with reality. She's in a position to face the same exact thing that happened with Global Partners and Applegreen, like I said on this deal that we have here in Springfield. Furthermore, you touched on a really good point, Mike, which is what happened with the wastewater up in the North Shore. I live close to the North Shore too. And the reality here, you got to think about it this way. Imagine all those people that came in for 4th of July weekend. They booked vacations, they booked this, they booked that. And then this happens in a state where, I mean, historically, we have been trying to be the number one in terms of the environment and all of these other things. But the problem is they would rather spend their money, resources time and energy on these pipe dreams when it comes to renewables than to fix what we already have. You know what I'm saying? Like before you go and spend billions upon billions of dollars on windmills in the middle of the damn ocean, don't you think it's a good idea to fix your infrastructure that we have here today so we don't have sewage dumping into the waters of Massachusetts? I mean, come on. I mean, is that not common sense? I mean,
yeah, the clamming industry, July 4th weekend is a big weekend for them. The restaurants did not take any orders, and they're probably knocked out for now months. That all that product is not going to be sold. They were started buying clams from other states or from Canada, and that's going to have a devastating impact on the North Shore. Now, one of the things about being a public servant and coming in from the outside, I'm not a politician. I'm a business person. I've been in the military. I also ran a public company for 19 years, so I got audited. The amount of optimism I have on how much waste, fraud, and excess that's in the system, I can't wait to get at it, because I'm going to be able to get $1.5 billion a year in savings by not doing right to shelter for free and all the other free perks that come with it. These kind of deals, like this is clearly a waste of at least $1.5 billion. It doesn't cost more than $500 million to build a. I mean, that would be already one of the most expensive buildings ever. And if you look at the highway example, or these the bidding processes done across the board, everywhere U.S. Attorney Leah Foley looks at, and everywhere Diana DiZoglio, the state auditor, looks at, we find millions of savings. So I'm so optimistic, and we talked about the revenue cap that's on the ballot of how we calculate giving taxes back, the surplus back. We have to make sure that stays in place, because I believe they're nervous I'm going to win, and I'm absolutely going to use 62F in our state constitution to give that surplus back. But we can just add up here 3 different examples and get over $3 billion of savings. And that's what we need. We need to jumpstart the economy back by letting people keep more of their own money in their own pocket. We talk about affordability and they try to make it so complicated. Just let people keep more of their money. We have 8 taxes, and Massachusetts takes more of our income than 90% of America. So the first thing is, let's get rid of reduce the spending, waste, fraud, and then let's let entrepreneurs and businesses grow revenue. And that's the best way out of this, and build up manufacturing, because you can only get money from people or businesses. Mm-hmm. And our top 2 employers, hospitals and universities, do not pay taxes. Plus we have 46,000 state employees. So the more businesses leave, the more the burden of taxes are going to be on the people. And the people that are stuck here that can't move, their taxes are going to more than double over the next several years.
100%. And I mean, the writing is on the wall. And I think what's really telling is that they never, like even at Maura Healey's State of the Commonwealth address, she never really touches on the issues that most people are worried about. You know what I mean? Like, she didn't say it. Like, it's one thing to say, we're going to make Massachusetts affordable for everybody. We're going to build more homes. We're going to do this. But then you look at her track record, and it's just not the case at all. So, I mean, how long? Look at it this way. I've been making videos for a long time, Mike. How long and I'm not the be all end all, okay? But if I make a video and the taxpayers are concerned about something that I'm covering, I mean, I'm not saying that they need to get on and address these issues, but if these are issues that everybody is talking about, everybody is worried about, yet she doesn't want to address them head on. Right. It's shocking to me that at least it's some levels of accountability or transparency. I mean, look, even if you made a mistake, even if somebody made a mistake, get on and say, look, guys, we made a mistake. We're going to change course on this. This is the plan to get there. This is what we're going to do. But they don't even want to do that, because I think that they have so much, I don't know if it's a pride thing or if it's because, everybody's in there patting each other on the back at the legislature. They think everything is okay. But I just don't feel as though the direction we're heading is right.
Politicians have been failing us. And what I've learned going into this new career, what I'm chasing down to be a public servant, is the politicians, they really want us to hate each other. They don't want us to focus on solving problems that you have at the kitchen table or you have in a business or entrepreneurs. And the reason they want us to hate each other is they want to divide us, and they don't want to solve problems. They want to campaign on them. And we have to get back to common sense. If you are in public office, you're there to serve and solve problems. You don't represent a party, you represent the citizens, you represent the people of Massachusetts. And 2 years into the next term of the president, or 2 years into the next term as a governor, we're going to have a new president. Whether that president is a Democrat or Republican, it won't change the way I operate as the governor. I'm going to do whatever is in the best interest of the people, the entrepreneurs, and businesses. And I'm definitely going to go down to DC and work and sell to maximize every opportunity for every citizen and every business in Massachusetts. That's what the governor is supposed to do. The problem is we have Maura Healey, who's playing party politics and hates the other party more than she cares about the people of Massachusetts. And that's why I'm going to be the next governor.
Mike, I got a question for you as well. In regards to that contract with Cojo Partners in Springfield, just circling back, have you talked to the mayor of Springfield at all, or have you discussed anything with anybody in regards to that?
I have talked to people there. The mayor, it's on the record. He's put it in the newspaper. Mm-hmm. He did not agree that this group should have won. He did not agree with the location of it, and he did not agree with all the other components that the taxpayer would be on the hook. Mm-hmm. And he basically called it out that this is the one party system deciding what's going to happen. And I think it just shows the arrogance of the one party system. He's a Democrat. Mm-hmm. And it also reminds me of Democrat Diana DiZoglio, our state auditor, who they're also attacking for trying to enforce the will of the people, that 72% of us want the audit of the legislature, and they've been blocking her as well. And as you know, I assisted in identifying the law firm and lawyer that represented Diana DiZoglio so that we could get to the Supreme Judicial Court. And now she has the ability to have legal representation. And I am offering, and I've put it out publicly on social media, that I'm going to get involved to block this $2 billion contract. It is so bad, so corrupt. It's mismanagement. And you're talking about probably the worst, most corrupt, expensive deal in the history of Massachusetts ever done going into an election. And it just, again, shows you that they think they can do whatever they want in the one-party system. And Massachusetts is working for some, but not all, because of the one-party system.
100%. 100%. It should be working for everybody. There's no doubt about it. I talk to, just like you, I talk to people every single day. They call me, they text me, they email me, and they're always asking the same questions. What could we do? What could we do? And I always give them the same answer. You got to be more vocal with these things. You got to talk to people. You got to change the way you vote here. Otherwise, we're going to keep trending in the same exact direction, which is not a Massachusetts for everybody. Between the residents leaving, the businesses leaving, these potentially corrupt deals that seem to be moving through with no problem at all. You got to think to yourself, what is happening in Massachusetts? And one of the issues that I see is that the local media and stuff, like, nobody would have covered this issue at all. Nobody would have done anything if I didn't do the digging. Like, I shouldn't have to do this stuff. You know what I'm saying? I shouldn't be the one that has to do the digging in order to find these things that are happening. And then it took the news cycle almost over a week before they even covered it. They didn't say anything. They were probably waiting to see if people were actually watching the video before they decided to dive in. And they're like, oh, you know what? I guess we got to do this. I mean, like, between the legislature and the media here, not all the media, but a lot of them, I just feel like the legislature has a stranglehold on the way things are operated.
Yeah. And so, to be clear, in this process of going against an incumbent, Maura Healey's tactics are her and her fundraising team. They call up people bidding on contracts. That's inappropriate. It's unethical. And they put pressure on people not to try to support me. But if you're out there and you're a builder and developer, this is the most important election, because we know Boston doesn't have any more cranes. We have a lot of vacancy downtown Boston. And if you're a developer and someone can come in and get a $2 billion bid by not following the RFP process, completely ignoring it, and get the sweetheart deal of a century with no experience in building, in development, or even in the area of Springfield, it means if you're the best developer, you're never going to win again, because there's always going to be someone that has a better political connection than you do, and you won't win based on being the best. Just one last example of that, and the exposure, right? her chief of staff in Springfield, Lamar Cook, he is now, he got out on bail. He had a weapon. He got a severance package, and Maura Healey's calling it outrageous. Well, he worked for you. It's your administration. I don't know if you're not responsible for this, I don't know who is. And so he got a severance package of $31,000. He's now getting cash card benefits because he applied. And when you get that cash card, you can then apply for benefits for kids. He's getting that too. Now, Maura Healey says it's outrageous, and she's trying to blame the federal government and saying that Department of Transitional Authority, they don't decide who gets it or not. Well, it is a flaw to the system. The flaw says you could have $100,000 in your checking account, but if your expenses and your other cost living are higher, you can qualify. And it's not hard to do. A lot of illegal immigrants are doing it as well, getting cash cards. Now, the reason this is so important for the taxpayers is that starting October 1st, any amount of fraud, excess, or waste on our SNAP benefits, which is the $3 billion federal government, anything above a 6% has to be paid by the state taxpayers of Massachusetts. So we're at 12.5%. 6 is the cutoff. Charlie Baker's administration was 4.5. So between 6 and 12.5%, that's hundreds of millions of dollars that the Massachusetts taxpayers are going to have to start paying in 2027. And Maura Healey refuses to give the identities for the people getting SNAP benefits because she has stated she doesn't want them to share it with ICE, which means she's acknowledging we have fraud, waste in that program, and we're going to have to pay again more. We've already been paying for this. We're going to have to pay for more of this. And at a certain point, I'm a compassionate person, but we have to have common sense, and we can't bankrupt and tax to death all our people. Massachusetts is called Taxachusetts already, but get ready for what's coming. The 8 taxes category: income, property, sales, excise, energy, capital gains tax, millionaire's tax, those rates are all going to have to go up on those 8 categories because we continue to waste money, even though we've got young people that can't pay their energy bills or buy a house, and seniors don't think they can continue to live here. It is absolutely the worst run organization, and it's a leadership issue around the energy, around spending, and around transparency.
Mike, is there anything else that you'd like to add? We're at about 23 minutes here.
So if you're interested in helping us take back the Commonwealth, please go to minogue4ma.com. This is the most important election in our lifetime. It is a tipping point. I really believe that. I'm Mike Minogue. I'm running for the audit party. I'm running for the math party. I'm running for the accountability party. We know what we have to do. So let's get involved. Let's have the courage to go and win and save the Commonwealth.